being said that learning is a vital part of the students that they may get upon entering the school, to mold and develop their knowledge and skills, and to be ready in facing the challenges in a competitive world. That's why it is important to addressing the needs and integrating the system towards learning multiple intelligences and bilingual learners in the Philippines, which is the theme of our group, Group 6. Bilingual education refers to a teaching of a content in two languages that has good effect on us because it helps our brain healthy as we age. It has also multiple benefits for children and students that helps them to be better improve their multiple intelligences, which has positively effect on their cognitive abilities. It can also lead to a clear signal for learning and give them academic advantage. Being educated bilingually often perform better on tasking, which requires multitasking, decision making, and problem solving. Nowadays, many companies increasingly searching bilingual employees. That's why to those with bilingual education have an advantage in improving their employment prospect when they leave to school. That's why addressing the needs of students regarding the bilingual and multi-intelligences is important in the Philippines.
There are many advantages in speaking two languages. First is to access to a larger world. So when you learn language, you also learn culture. So being able to speak languages means you are able to speak to people in a different culture and linguistic content. Second, better ability to focus. So according to Dr. Judy Willis, 2012, bilingual find it easier to focus and can avoid distraction. So every time a bilingual speaks both languages are actually active and the brain has to work to suppress one language while the other is being used. Third is intellectual gymnastic. So learning another language stretches your mind intellectually. So when you learn another language, you have to focus on the structure of sentences. You have to recognize sound patterns and make inferences. So fourth, better at multitasking. So bilingual kids can switch from activity to another faster and are better at doing multiple tasks at once than monolinguals. Okay. So fifth is a linguistic facilities. So being bilingual helps you to learn another languages as you're constantly switching from one language to another. You become accustomed to expressing yourself in a different way. Next is a deep understanding of the concept of languages or language. So bilingual have a deeper appreciation of what is a language. So they know that there is more than one way to label a word, and that a word can have different connotations. As a Professor Klein says, the bilingual kids or students have a better sense of arbitrary nature of words and the difference between form and meaning. And the last one, it can give us more job opportunities. So fluency in more than one language can open many doors, and it also creates opportunities for travels. So being able to know how to speak more than one language is very important because it can give us many opportunities like for employment, or if you go travel abroad, you need to know how to speak English language also, because it is our second language here in the Philippines, and then could also make easier for us to communicate to the foreign people so that we can understand each other.
Challenges addressing the needs and integrating the system towards learning of multiple intelligences and bilingual learners in the Philippines. from one of the most highly educated developing countries in the world in the 1980s, the Philippines' educational outcomes had fallen short of potential. Results of the trends in reforms failed to resolve chronic shortages in textbooks and school buildings, and a revised curriculum and a new instructional policies did not produce desired outcomes as real government spending on basic education failed to catch up with population growth or inflation. However, between 2005 to 2013, public education spending almost tripled, which had positive effects on education outcomes. School-based management grants play a great role in order to improve the quality of education delivered to our learners. If all the teachers and stakeholders are fully aware of the rules and functions and have the proper direction on how to do and achieve it, quantity education and high productivity can be achieved. In regards with this, education now in the Philippines, the Philippine government came into pursuant to Section 16 of Republic Act number 10533 entitled An Act of Enhancing the Philippine Basic Education System by strengthening its curriculum and increasing the number of years for basic education, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, otherwise known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, approved on May 15, 2013, and which took effect on June 8, 2013.
Good day everyone, I am Marjorie Ann Ibanez and I am going to discuss the Section 9 Acceleration until Medium of Teaching and Learning. So, acceleration of learners in public and private basic educational institution shall be allowed consistent with the DepEd rules and regulations. So, everything should be aligned to the Department of Education. Mother tongue and additional languages should use inside the classroom as a formal and non-formal education because we all know that learners have their own native languages. So, to achieve this, it is very important to provide enough resources and teachers should capable and knowledgeable enough to support the learner's progress. So in terms of producing and developing learning and teaching materials, so it is highly recommended to produce it locally by the national policies and standards, and then it will be approved by the regional and division education. So lastly, in medium of teaching and learning, so DepEd shall formulate a mother tongue transition program from kindergarten to grade 3 using mother tongue or native language in instructions, teaching materials, and assessment of learners for them to understand it better in the lesson, as well as they will be able to participate and share their ideas in the class. So in continuation to grades 4 to 6, so siya, Filipino and English shall gradually introduced as the language of instruction for them to practice and master it as a preparation for the secondary level.
I already discussed to you some parts of addressing the needs of bilingual learners and also those who are in multiple intelligences of every learners. So based on the educational system here in the Philippines, so we had recently the government uh, proposes a new curriculum to us, which is the Enhanced Basic Education, also known as the K to 12 program or curriculum. So, of course, a school or any curriculum would not be
successfully happen if there is no a teaching force. So here I'm going to discuss to you the uh, different qualification and training of a teacher in their continuing professional development. The government tend to hire a lot of teachers so that the curriculum program, so that the needs of the learners must be put into consideration. So first things first, we have the in-service training on content and pedagogy. So of course, teachers those teachers who are not undergo the pre-service teaching in K to 12 curriculum, so they must have at least trained to meet the content and performance base of what the K to 12 curriculum is. And also we have here the training of new teachers. So of course, K to 12 is much longer curriculum than the previous one because we had added the the junior and senior high school. So we need a lot of teaching force. So the government also produces those teachers who are newly graduated from the teacher education must also have additional training and must undergone seminars so that it will upgrade their competencies and skills in terms of the K to 12 performance and content standards. So also the DepEd and private or public schools must hire other teachers also so that it will be sufficient in every school, especially per subject. So we considered in integrating the educational system here in the Philippines. So I guess the government had already uh, establish their integration in our educational system by just proposing the K to 12 program. So that would be all. Thank you.
Hello, I am Maris G. Porras, elementary school teacher. My friend Marjorie Ann Ibanez asked me about my own opinion about the theme addressing the needs and integrating the system towards learning multiple intelligence and the bilingual learners of the Philippines. So, for my own opinion, we should include in our lesson the multiple intelligence activities. These are what we call the differentiated instruction. This type of instruction provide more learning opportunities because the students or the learners learn in their own ways. This type of instruction or the differentiated instruction will give more freedom to the students or to the learners to learn in their own comfort. And for the bilingualism for me, it can be interpreted as the use of one or more than one language by an individual or an entire society. Bilingualism is very important, especially the Philippines have hundreds of dialects. And if we adapt our curriculum in a respective language, we can help them to learn. We may help them to learn more, and we can help to preserve their language also. And also bilingualism, it can help students to enhance their communication skills, and it can give or enhance their better educational performance, and also to enhance their creativity. That's all. Thank you.
Baby, I hope that this ain't karma, 'cause I get around. You wanna run it up.